Every year, NBA 2K gives players the ability to simulate 80 years into the future inside of MyLeague. And today, that is exactly what we have done. Being it's 2020, 80 years is 2100 or the year 2100. And that is exactly what we have done. We are currently in June 2nd, 2100, and this took so long to simulate. Most normal people would probably spend like the whole game simulating 80 years. I don't know, maybe play a year a day, or maybe every few days play an entire season. But I decided to simulate the whole thing in one day, and it took so long. I spent like an entire day just simulating this thing. So if you guys do enjoy the video, smash that like button. Let's go. Let's try to get at least 5,000 likes on this video. Also, I just relaunched my website where you can get some cool phone cases for your iPhone. It's hoops.com, hoops with 2 S's, and you can use code Smequle for 10% off on your order. But let's just get right into this and find out what's going on in the NBA in the year 2100. So we'll start off. Already looking at this, we can see that instead of the normal playoff East versus West, we actually just have the teams seeded 1 through 16, which is a pretty cool way to do it. But let's look back on the history from today's NBA 2020 and on, and see kind of what happened in the next 20 years with players we know of now. And then beyond that is just going to be players we've never heard of. So we'll come over here to league history, and we can check out all of the different MVPs. Already we can see this dude Floyd Warwick went off in the most recent years, getting so many MVPs. But I'm coming all the way down here to the year 2020, and of course this season is still going on. So we're going to find out pretty soon who is going to win MVP, and also who is going to be the champion of this year. But in 2021, MVP goes to LeBron James. I believe he'll be 36 next year. So pretty crazy. LeBron winning it there. Luka winning it in 2022. Luka again in 23. Then we had Giannis in 2024, and he ended up going to the San Antonio Spurs. So he did end up leaving Milwaukee. Of course, a little disappointing for them this year, losing 4-1 to the Miami Heat. Giannis wins it 2 years in a row. Then it goes back to Luka. Giannis wins it again. And then finally, we have somebody different here. We got DeAndre Ayton winning it back-to-back. Back over to Luka. DeAndre Ayton winning it again. And then we got Brandon Sutton, who we don't know who that is. And I think from here on out, we don't really know who these players are that are winning MVP. But Esteban Sosa going off for the Raptors here. So nice. We got another great player. We got Ricky Westbrook. This isn't Russell Westbrook's son. If you saw what he would look like, you would know why. But Ricky Westbrook winning it a few times. Lakers having some players winning it. And let's see if anybody wins it back to back. Glenn Lyons. Oh my gosh. So he wins it in 2046. Then someone else gets it. Then he wins it back to back. Alex Ellis gets it. And then he wins it, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row. 5 times back to back to back to back to back MVP is pretty crazy. I want to see if anybody can beat that. 5's a record right now. We got a few 3s here. We got a 4 times in a row, back to back again. 3 times in a row by Gary Lawson. And we keep going up, and here we go. Floyd Warwick, which we saw at the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-time MVP all in a row, which is pretty crazy. Then someone else gets it. He gets it again. 2 other players get it, and then his teammate gets it in 2100. So that's MVP right there. So up next, we got the Rookie of the Year. We'll go over all the season awards first and then check out the champions. But 2020, it obviously was Ja Morant in real life, but 2K doesn't have it in this because they made this before Ja Morant won. 2021, now we couldn't put the 2021 draft class in for the season just because of how 2K21 works. So it ended up going to Dylan Windler, who I believe is signed by the Cavs right now. He didn't play last season, so he was like one of the only rookies actually in the game that was a rookie next year. And then in 2022, we got that 21 draft class, and LaMelo Ball ends up winning Rookie of the Year though, and he ended up going to OKC, which won't be the case this year. OKC definitely does not have the picks to pick him up. Next year we got Jonathan Purdue, and I'm not really sure who the rest of these players are right here. Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but somehow in 2035, Dino Raja won Rookie of the Year again. Currently, he is 53 years old. So there, what is that? 53 plus 15? 68. He would be 68 at the time, and somehow he becomes a rookie again. He's already played in the NBA, never mind that, and then he's gonna be 6. So I don't know what's going on right there, but somehow he came back to the NBA, wins again. We got JR Nance. Maybe that's Larry Nance's son. This is quite a bit in the future though. This might be 2 generations, but the rest of these players, obviously, we don't know. The players in 2100 aren't going to be born for like another 60 years. Up next, we got 6th man of the year. Of course, this year it went to Montrezl Harrell. And then 2021, they give it to Schroeder. I think Schroeder should have won it this year, in my honest opinion. I think he had a great season as a 6th man, but it did go to Harrell. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on that are. Enes Kanter winning it in 22. Then we got Zubox. We got Spencer Dinwiddie. Ferdinand Gomez. Don't know who that is, but he wins it in 25. 2026, Karl Anthony Towns. This must be at the back end of his career when he's kind of getting worse. Lonzo Ball wins it in 27. Ferdinand winning it again. Don't know who any of these players are, but then we got Nikola Jokic in 2032 winning it for the Denver Nuggets. So still playing good in 12 years. Bol winning it in 33. And then the rest of these players we won't really know, but this guy winning it back-to-back. I don't know if anybody will end up beating Lou Williams. I mean, the rest of this, yeah, we just don't know these players. It's so far into the future. We'll move on to Depoy now, and they do actually have Giannis in this because I believe he won it before this game came out. So they do have Giannis in here, and then he wins it back-to-back again in 21. Then Anthony Davis winning. Giannis winning again on the Spurs. And look how many times Giannis won it in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times in a row Giannis won it. And then, of course, we have the 2 before that as well. So an 8-time Defensive Player of the Year. Jacob McGuire winning it 4 times in a row. Doyle Westbrook winning it 4 times in a row. People are just winning this thing back to back to back. But our record is still 6 times in a row by Giannis. Glenn Lyon's getting really close here, but it got interrupted halfway through. He would have actually beat Zion, or Giannis is right there. Young Long Chen getting a bunch in a row. Let's see if there's anybody that can get more than 6. We got 4 right there. Another 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row by Floyd Warrick. So Giannis winning it the most times in a row right here. This Floyd Warrick, of course, got all those MVPs as well. Next up, we got most improved player. And of course, again, this is only good for like the next few years. In 21, we got Michael Porter Jr., DeAndre Ayton, Kevin Porter, Gene Andrews. Don't know who any of these guys are at this point. So only a few players we saw there that actually got the most improved player. Looks like LaMelo Ball, after getting his Rookie of the Year, didn't really do too much in the NBA, which is kind of interesting. All right, so the next thing we'll look at is our past champions. Of course, 2020, we're still waiting on that. We'll find out who wins in real life, but then after that, we got the Boston Celtics beating out the Grizzlies. Kemba Walker with Finals MVP. Spurs win it. Of course, Giannis went over to that team. Spurs winning it back-to-back again. Giannis the MVP. And then the Pelicans picking up a championship with Zion Williamson as the MVP. And then it goes back over to the Spurs and Giannis. And then yet again, the Spurs and Giannis, the Spurs and Giannis again. So the Spurs end up winning 5 championships with Giannis on the team. So great decision for him to leave Milwaukee. Sorry to all the Milwaukee fans, but just doing a little better on a different team. Celtics, and then again, we don't know a lot of these players. DeAndre Ayton getting Finals MVP. So already looking here, a few teams that haven't had a championship yet getting one. We got the Pacers, the Magic. Pacers winning it again. Sacramento wins it back-to-back. The Grizzlies get their first championship in 2037. Back to the Pacers, Lakers, Warriors, pretty dominant yet again. 2043, the Nuggets get their first championship, and then the Hornets get their first one in 2045, and then the Clippers get their first championship in 2046. So I believe the only teams left that haven't won are going to be the Timberwolves and the Brooklyn Nets, as well as the Phoenix Suns. All the other teams that don't have a ring yet have already won. So let's see if those three teams can actually get a championship. Here we go. 2052, the Nets winning their first championship. And then in 2054, the Suns finally win a championship. So the last team on here to not win are the Minnesota Timberwolves. And let's see if that even ends up happening. In all of these years of simulation, it's not looking great. Portland with a back-to-back. The New York Knicks with 3 in a row. Hornets back-to-back. No teams beating that three-peat, though. We're getting to the end of the line here, and the Timberwolves still with no championship, and they don't end up getting one, but we still have one more season to simulate. The Cavs are on a three-peat right now. Maybe they can get the four-peat. Every team gonna win a championship here except for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't believe, I might have missed one, but I don't think so. I just don't think they won a championship in the next 80 years. So sorry to the Timberwolves fans. Next thing we're checking out is the points per game. I just wanted to kind of check out how the NBA went. So for the next few years, the points per game were pretty high. As you can see, it got into the 40s with Luka. Luka was leading for quite a few years. And then we're over 30. It drops to 26 one year. But if we come into the future here, I don't know what they did. Maybe they turned off the shot clock. But we're getting down here to 22 points per game. We shoot back up for a bit. And then check this out. Our league leaders are getting under 20 points per game. I hope the NBA never comes to that. I mean, I don't even know if I'll be alive at this time. Probably not. Be like 100 years old. But I hope the NBA never comes to this where the top players scoring 20 points per game. That would be pretty boring. And then one final thing we'll check out here before actually going over to like NBA records, seeing what records were broken. We'll check out the Hall of Fame. Who ended up making... we got some current players here. Got Rudy, Garnett, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, of course, making the Hall of Fame. 2022, they put in Carmelo, Dwight Howard in 23. We have LeBron in 23. I thought he was still playing at this point in time in the game. But he ends up getting into the Hall of Fame. Chris Paul, Harden, Lillard, Westbrook, Curry, Paul George, Durant, Kawhi. Kyrie somehow made it in twice. I don't know how that happened. AD, D'Angelo Russell made it in twice. Jokic, Cat, Devin Booker, D'Angelo Russell in there again, Kyrie Irving in there again. What's going on with people in here multiple times? Did they unretire and then retire again? I'm not exactly sure. Luka getting in there, Giannis, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Ben Simmons, D'Angelo Russell. For some reason, Kyrie again, Jaylen again, D'Angelo. What is going on here? Then we got Trae Young making it, DeAndre Ayton, Zion Williamson, and then I think that is the end. So kind of all the top players today and like the up and coming guys, the young guys, all make it into the Hall of Fame. But I want to come over here to NBA records next and see if any NBA records were broken. And first off, LeBron James beating the record for most points in a career with 41,000. And he's actually the only player to be able to do that. In the next 80 years, nobody else could do it. It's still Kareem and then Karl Malone. Then we had Doncic, Giannis, Durant, Devin Booker, Kobe still in the top 10 there, James Harden and Trae Young. So Michael Jordan moving out of the top 10, going down to 11. Three-pointers made, somehow the record is set by Luka Doncic, getting 5,800 in his career. Trae Young is also third. And then we have some other players we don't really know of. Stephen Curry ends up 7th all time with 4,400. Free throws made don't really change at all. We got Karl Malone, Moses Malone, LeBron, Kobe, James Harden, and Oscar Robertson. Rebounds doesn't change. I mean, Will Chamberlain's records with rebounds are just unbelievable. DeAndre Ayton getting really high up here as well. And then these two players right here. Assist records still set by John Stockton. We got Stockton, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, LeBron. I wonder how Lonzo Ball did, because in a lot of these simulations, he does pretty good. But yeah, I mean, he ends up getting 15th all time. Blocks is not going to be broken at all. Literally nobody in the top 10 here. Anthony Davis makes the top 10, but that's it. All the other records. Steals, again, another thing where no players were able to beat any of these. I want to come over here next to games. So records in a single game. Total points. Wasn't beaten. We still got Wilt at 100, Kobe at 81, and then this guy Damon Robinson getting really, really close to Kobe, getting to 79 in the year 2039. Field goals made, everything staying the same. 3-pointers made, Damon Robinson ends up getting 17 in 2039. Lou Yi was 16. Patrick Samuels, Kevin Porter Jr. getting 15 in 2027, and then Jay Peters up there as well. All current players getting kicked out of 3-pointers made. Free throws made, we got Jackie Erickson getting up there in 2032. Rebounds, nobody even getting close to those. Assists, nobody in there. Blocks, nobody in there. Steals, we had Brian Sampson with 12 in 2075. And in 2086, this man, Norman Austin, played 70 minutes in a single game, breaking Dale Ellis's record of 69. And then for playoffs, points scored in a game, Ricky Westbrook getting 68. Ricky Galloway was 67. Tyrone Red and Connor Hood all getting up there, beating out Michael Jordan. Next thing I want to check out is see if anybody beat the points per game record. Luka Doncic got the closest with 41.6, but of course, Wilt Chamberlain at 50 is pretty unbeatable. So Luka doing that in 2023 as well. Field goal percentage, again, nobody beating Wilt's record. 3-point percentage, TLC ends up shooting 58.3% in 2029. And then JC Ryder in 2099 gets super close to that as well. Free throw percentage, people actually ended up shooting 100% from the free throw line in a single season. Rebounds per game, again, nobody can beat out Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell for those rebounds. Assists per game, John Stockton is still going to be up on top there, and nobody really getting close to him at all. Nobody even in the top 10. Blocks per game, this is another record that is just unbeatable for players in the future. They switched over to 3-pointers and kind of went up from there. Steals per game, another record that cannot be broken or even close to getting up there. And then minutes per game, Wilt, of course, I mean, he played so many minutes. And that's going to be it for NBA records. I think the last thing we'll check out in this video is the rule change history, and then we'll just hop into the last season and find out who wins in the year 2100. So I'll kind of just go over some of the more interesting things for the rule changes and then just update you guys as I see them. So in 2021, they eliminated the 5-second back to the basket. And then in 2024, they made a sudden death rule. So the first team to score in OT wins. 2027, they changed the amount of fouls to 5 to foul out. They increased the salary cap by 15 million in 29. And then in 2030, they actually determined the top 2 picks through an elimination tournament, which I actually made a video on yesterday. There was pretty much a tournament, an elimination tournament, to determine who gets the first overall pick in the draft. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. In 2033, they abolished the luxury tax, and they also got rid of that elimination tournament. And then they changed the shot clock back to where you get 24 seconds when you get a rebound when the same team gets the ball again. And then in 2038, they switched to the 1 to 16, except you still had to be the top 8 in your conference. It's just the playoffs were seeded 1 to 16. Oh my God, we got some bad rules right here. 2042, 12 seconds to advance the ball instead of 8. And then in 2045, they got rid of goaltending. That would literally ruin the NBA. Imagine shooting a 3 and a dude can just jump up and block it. That would be awful. I mean, I think this is when the NBA went downhill, when they started scoring a lot less. They eliminated financial restrictions when trading. They changed it from 3 in the key to 5 in the key, so you can just camp down there. And then in 2050, they modified goaltending. So once it hits the rim, anybody can touch it no matter what. They changed back 5 in the key to 3 in the key. Got rid of the sudden death rule in 2053. They got rid of backcourt violations in 2058. And then finally in 2059, they brought back the goaltending rule. And then I think this is when it got bad again in 2060. The scoring went down. They ended up changing the shot clock to 30 seconds, which is just awful. In 2066, they changed the fouls back to 6. 2069, shot clock down to 24. And in 2073, the shot clock went down to 20 seconds. So that would have been a lot more scoring at that point in time, which I believe we did see. But I think it goes back down because we saw people start scoring under 20 points per game. And yeah, in 2077, changed the shot clock to 35 seconds, which is just way too long. And in 2083, they eliminated the goaltending rule. And then in 2077, this is another awful rule. You have to go to college for 3 years before you can enter the draft, or you have to be 21 if you're an international player. That again, another terrible rule. We got a lot of bad rules here. 2086, they just got rid of the shot clock. You could literally sit there in one possession for the entire game, score once, and then just chill. And then here we go, 2088, they made it so as long as you're 18, you can enter the draft. And then they changed it back in 2093. You got to be 3 years in college before you can enter the draft. And then in 2098, they eliminated the goaltending rule again. I think they changed it back. But I mean, at the end of this, these rules are just awful. Some of the stuff would ruin goaltending, and no shot clock just ruins the NBA. It would be so boring. There wouldn't be a lot of scoring. And that's exactly what we saw when we looked at the records. People were scoring under 20 points per game, which is just awful. So that's going to be all the history we looked back on. Some things great and some things awful in the history of the NBA. And I think the last thing to do here is simulate our final season, the year 2100. And in 2100 in the NBA Finals, we got the Denver Nuggets facing off against the New Orleans Pelicans. And the Nuggets with a 3-2 lead over the Pelicans. Let's see if they can win it here in Game 6. Game number 7 is super close as well. Nuggets up by 3 with 20 seconds left in the game, and they get an 8-second violation. That's a stupid glitch inside the game. Pelicans from 3. That is though good, and that is going to end the game right there. Denver Nuggets are 2100 NBA champions. So shout out to all the Nuggets fans. I mean, they won a few times during this simulation. And 2K's really got to fix this glitch where your VC earnings don't save. But there we go. Congratulations on completing MyLeague. Try again to see if you can do better. Let me know if you guys actually ever completed one of these things. I've only played a few years in the future. It ends up getting pretty bad. Like, players progress to like 99s in single seasons. Just the simulations in the future on these games aren't the best, so I've never really gone that far. But that was the NBA in the year 2100. If you guys enjoyed the video, again, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're on already. This has been your boy Smequle, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup.